Hey guys, Mr. Premium here. Today I'll be showing you a complete guide of Layer 2 Floor 2. This will be the second part of a two-part Layer 2 guide. In the first half we went over Floor 1. The first one got a lot of support, as you can see from these kind comments. I even got a comment from the legendary user GL2C03WF3B. I also got a bunch of helpful comments which were saying things that I managed to miss in the first guide. Also, big premium news update right here, I now have a Discord server. Okay, enough of this intro, let's get right to it. First, here are the timestamps, although it would make more sense if you just watched the whole way through, as Floor 2 is very linear. The first thing I'll talk about is the potential loot you can get from Layer 2 Floor 2. There are two ways to get loot. The first way is by finding neon pink chests around the map. These chests only have one thing in them: Curison medallions. Curison medallions are essentially a type of currency, and you can buy many things with them, from the NPC that sends you into Layer 2 of a light hook, Claris. Here's what she sells. For 5 medallions you can get 5 knowledge. You could also get a random enchant stone, or enchant any equipment you're holding with a random enchant. For 1 medallion you can get a dye packet, which, as the name implies, lets you dye a piece of equipment of your choice. For 30 medallions she gives you the Dawnwalker oath, and for 15 medallions she can progress this oath. You can progress it 3 times, meaning to max it out, it costs 75 medallions. There's one more use for these medallions, and they're used by an NPC called Misérables, but I'll cover that later. The second way you can get loot is from defeating the final boss of Layer 2, Scion of Ethiron. He drops a pretty massive chest, which likely contains good loot such as legendary weapons, deep gems, and relics. The third way of getting loot is killing random mobs in New Curisa. I do not advise doing this, as you can easily get infinite comboed and wiped by these mobs. You can also literally get ground to a pulp by these guys. There are a few items that are exclusive to Layer 2. These are the Railblade, Ignition Deep Crusher, Light's Final Toll, Flare Blood Cameras, the Kira Sieger, and the exceedingly rare Bloodforged Crown. You can only get the Flare Blood Cameras and the Bloodforged Crown from Chaser, and you can only get the Kira Sieger from Scion of Ethiron. Now it's time to talk about the scary guys, mobs. Layer 2 Floor 2 has 5 mobs. Well, I say 5 mobs, but most of them are just these funny coil head looking things. The first mob I'll be talking about is the most dangerous one, being the Kirisguard Lancer. The reason why the Lancer is the most dangerous of the mobs is due to the fact that multiple can spawn at a time, and they can ragdoll you, meaning you may never be able to escape the ragdoll. This can be alleviated by having the talent Brick Wall. This talent allows you to never be ragdolled by moves, which makes dealing with them a whole lot easier. The requirements for Brick Wall are 100 Fortitude and 100 Willpower. This is a very large stat requirement, but it's worth achieving if you haven't been to Layer 2 before and you don't want to wipe. They have 3000 health and they drop Frozen Membranes. Frozen Membranes can be used to make the armor set Ignition Deep Delver and the food item Kira's Dog, which, and I quote from the wiki, is a reference to the hot dog from real life. The first move is Assault. This is a 3-hit combo where they slash at you, jab at you, and then throw a spear at you. It's parryable and dodgeable, but it's recommended for you to roll back for the first 2 hits and then parry the throw. The second move is Glacial Javelin. This is the move that ragdolls you, and they throw a javelin that can be dodged and parried. The third move is called Skyward Spear. This is where the mob performs a disgustingly awesome backflip just to style on the opponent before chucking its spear at you. It can be parried and dodged, and it's recommended to be parried when its arm's at its highest point. The second mob is a much more simple mob, known as the Kirisguard Crawler. They have 3000 health and only 1 attack, Cloaking Assault. This is where they come out of Tacit to perform a 2-hit combo, which is parryable and dodgeable. I recommend to just run from these guys as they spawn in big groups. The third mob is the Kirisguard Sniper. These mobs spawn in 2 places and will act very differently in each place. If spawned inside the city, they'll throw javelins at you similar to how the Lancer does, which ragdoll you. They also have 2000 health. If spawned during the Scion of Ethiron boss fight, they'll have the same move, but they'll no longer ragdoll you. They also have 900 health, and they act as health packs during the boss fight. The final member of the Kirisguard is the Kirisguard Brute. These beefy guys have 4000 health and 2 moves. Both of these are not parryable or blockable, but they are dodgeable. The first move is Clenching Assault, or as I like to call it, the Grind. He grabs you, grinds you, and then chucks you, dealing a fair bit of damage. And the second move is Slam. This is where he slams. Watch out for this move because it auto grips you at low health. The final mob you can find in Layer 2 Floor 2 is these guys. Yay. These are Lost Divers. They can only be found in one place, being complete weirdos and worshipping an obelisk. They wield Marker's Inheritors and have basic attacks and criticals. They also have the mantra Gale Lunge. Alright, now that we know how to fight the mobs, I think it's time that we go on to the actual guide. I'll have a sped up version on screen, but if I ever need to, I'll slow it down and talk about what's happening on screen. This right here is an obelisk. To be able to fight the final boss, you must activate all 5 obelisks. In addition to this, there's a 15-minute timer counting down, which you can see by clicking on the old diver's watch in your inventory. After 15 minutes is up, New Kirissa has a wacky spacetime oopsie, and everything fades to white, and you get sent back to the start with everything but the obelisks resetting. If you allow the timer to run down 3 times in a row, you wipe. And the reason why I've gone right here is because usually a medallion chest spawns here. As a general rule of thumb, in Layer 2, don't talk to strangers, okay? Because this guy right here, if you talk to him, he'll summon his friends on you, and then you'll get ganked by these, Lancer guys, so watch out. And yeah, speaking of stranger danger, don't go into people's houses, because a bunch of mobs might spawn, so just go where I go. Also, don't walk into these pink patches, because a bunch of Lancers will be thrown at you if you do. This section is a maze where you have to enter a certain combination into these pillars to unlock the correct path. You'll have to click each pillar the correct amount of times for the code. I remember the code in segments to make it easier, and the code is 121 222 123 14231. I always just run past these mobs easy and try not to get ground up. Here's the second obelisk, and make sure you talk to this strange guy, cause he'll come in handy later with mob mantras. Here's the fourth obelisk, and on the way out of the sewer, make sure you follow my every step, because there's a bunch of mobs that spawn and they're tacited, so they're invisible, so try and avoid all those and just follow me. This is the last obelisk, and as I mentioned earlier, it has a bunch of these lost diver guys, and they act as health packs for any damage you've taken earlier, as they're pretty easy to beat. You don't actually have to kill these guys, but I always do, and after the final obelisk is activated, the 15-minute time will stop counting down, and if you check the old diver's watch, it'll be stuck on the time left that you activated the final obelisk with. And this French fella right here is Misérables. There are 2 very important things you can do when talking to him. First, he'll start spouting utter nonsense, as the first 3 dialogue options do not matter. After you pick the option Peace of Mind Friend, you can ask one of 2 things. The first option is I seek power in my upcoming battles. This gives you a 30% damage boost against the Scion of Ethiron, so in my opinion, you should always get this. Whoa, don't get too ahead of yourself. Make sure you have at least 5 medallions or else he'll straight up wipe you on the spot. The second option is I seek clarity. This grants you a Yunshul wish, meaning you can reroll your resonance. It also untarnishes your bell, all for the cheap price of 15 knowledge. At this point of the run, I'm running around looking for medallions. I always look to see if there's any pink swirlies going into the sky, because that always means there's chests below them. It's like a leprechaun at the end of the rainbow. As soon as you've done everything that you want, just head towards the big disco ball, and then go straight forward, because then you'll find the boss fight. And here we are, the final boss of Deepwoken, Scion of Ethiron. To start the fight, talk to this strange swirling purple mass, and make sure to learn these moves carefully, or else you'll wipe. There are 2 ways you can get buffs for this fight. The first way is from Misérables, and the second way is by subscribing to Mr. Premium. This way you'll get a happiness boost for the fight. Good luck, and remember to memorize all these moves. Scion of Ethiron has 40,000 health. This is actually 10,000 less health than Kaido, surprisingly, and when you start the fight there are 3 bone pillars placed around the floor. After blocking or parrying the move where he throws bones at you, which I'll cover in a bit, you can place these comically large bones into the pillars, and if you place them in all 3 pillars, a new floor will merge. On this second floor you can find 3 more pillars which you need to put bones in. After this a third and final floor appears alongside 3 more pillars, and if you put the bones in these pillars, Scion of Ethiron goes into a stunned state where you can hit him constantly. The only place you can attack him is his arms, and these appear on the second floor, so rush to the second floor as soon as you can. He stays stunned for a very long time so you can get many hits on him. After the stun he then removes a bone from one of the 3 pillars on each floor. If you put bones in these pillars he will go back into a stun phase. This is repeated until he's killed. On average this takes about 2 to 3 cycles, and for his last pillar in each cycle, I would recommend it either being on the 2nd or 3rd floor if you want to maximise the amount of time spent attacking him. And that's the basics for this fight. Now onto the moveset. His first move is Blinding Gale. This is where he shoots a ball of purple gale at you, and this move by itself is not very deadly, but if he chains it with other moves it can be. This is because the move blinds you temporarily if you're hit by it, and it cannot be blocked, but it can be parried or dodged, and it does no damage. His second move is called Bone Staves with Eld. This is where 3 bones do a half rotation around his body and then get fired at you. These bones can either be parried or blocked, and when you do parry or block these, they fall to the floor and are able to be picked up. These are the bones that you put into the pillars. His third move is his biggest and deadliest one. It's called Vehemens Ventus, which is Latin for violent wind. He starts this attack by slowly charging up a large purple gale ball in his hands and then fires it towards you. This move can be parried if you spam F when it hits you, but I always choose to slide and dash away. This allows me to fully dodge it. This move can literally kill you in 3 seconds if you're hit with it, and it deals a very high amount of posture damage. It can be cancelled if you have other people with you, because on the first floor 3 small gale balls appear which can be M1'd, and if you get all of them that cancels his move, but realistically this just wastes time as the attack only goes after 1 person. They should be able to dodge it. His fourth move is Pressurized Wind. This is where he fires a gale beam at you, and it can be parried if you spam F repeatedly. If you fail to do this, the damage can stack up quite high. Other than that, it's a pretty simple move. His fifth move is Whiplash. This is where he slams his big bony fists down, and it can be parried or blocked. After this, you can get around 3 to 4 hits on his hand. His sixth move is called Bone Grow. This is very similar to Sand's the Bone Keeper. He summons bones on the ground that grow upwards after a brief period. The best way to avoid this move is to jump. His final move is called Bone Stream. This is where he starts an unsuccessful livestream and only garners 2 viewers. In all seriousness, this attack is similar to Bone Grow, but it circles growing bones around a whole floor. It does more damage than Bone Grow, and the best way to avoid this move is to spam jump. Now that I've gone through all the moves, I'll skip to the end of the fight. As you can see, I'm not sure if what we've done is a good thing, because it starts to make the whole of floor 2 destabilize and have another space-time oopsie. And Claris is freaking out about that and saying, "Get the heck out there, take my light hook." So you need to go to the front of the city and just follow me. Also get your chest along the way. As you can see here, I've got pretty bad loot this time. Usually you'd get maybe like 1 legendary weapon, like a Cure or something, but the main thing you need to watch out for is these glowing white orbs. Make sure you're not next to them when they blow up, because they'll instantly wipe you, so definitely watch out for that. Also, I almost forgot to mention this really important feature. If you don't escape within 2 minutes, you wipe instantly, so get escaping now. Now what you're going to want to do here is take a slightly curved right path, because you don't want to run into these Lancer guys. They've wiped me before, and that's been so annoying, because I beat the boss and then I just wiped to some low-level NPCs, but you get over it. And here you see your saving grace, the light hook. Stand on that as soon as you can to get out. And there you go, that's all of Layer 2 Floor 2. But there's one more small thing we have to cover. The last thing I'll cover in this video is Monster Mantra. These can be unlocked by talking to Carrion, Father of Evolution. That's quite a dramatic name. He can be found in the library of Floor 2, and if you beat Floor 1 quick enough, you can even still have a light hook by the time you talk to him, so you can even get Monster Mantras without even beating the final boss. After you talk to him in Layer 2, he can be found in the Castle Light Library. This guy really likes libraries. And you can exchange rare monster parts for exclusive mantra. You can exchange an Enforcer Eye for Enforcer Pull. This allows you to pull in targets like an Enforcer. You can exchange Thresher Talons for Beast Burrow. Beast Burrow allows you to dig under the ground and rise to the surface with an uppercut. You can exchange Megalodon Coral for Coral Spear. This is the Sharko's ranged move. For the Dread Serpent's Tooth, you can get Dread Breath. This allows you to use Kaido's Breath attack. For the Giant Femur, you can get Bonekeeper's Throw move. This does a large amount of knockback and ragdolls your opponent. For the Broken Gatling Gun, you can get Mecha Gatling. This allows you to pull out an actual Gatling gun, which is crazy, and it does a decent amount of damage and it burns. The Pteropod Shell gives you Whirling Blade. This allows you to do a spinning slash attack. And finally, the Nautilodont Beak gives you Abyssal Ridge, which is based off the Squibbo's Stomp. All of these items can be found as a rare drop from their respective mobs. And there you have it. That was an entire guide to Layer 2 Floor 2. I really hope you enjoyed and found use out of this, because it took me quite a while to make. Also, make sure to join my new Discord server. Thank you so much for 1,000 subs, it really means a lot to me. Hey, I have an idea. You should like and subscribe. Please, I'm begging. But anyways, keep playing Deepwoken, keep gripping freshies or whatever you do, and peace! Roblox. Roblox. Yeah. Roblox. Roblox. Yeah. So much Robux they call me premium. My parents are very lenient. They let